Let's take a moment to celebrate ourselves, the human species. Look at all the other species on this planet. How many of them have built a spacecraft, let alone two, that even as we speak is speeding out of our solar system and towards alien galaxies? My cat, for example, is impervious to the fact that the Earth rotates around the sun, and he doesn't question why the feeder automatically discharges his favorite treats at specific times during the day. In terms of science and knowledge, humans have achieved a lot collectively. But is it really as rosy as it seems? My dad recalls a beautiful September day in 2001, the sky a steel blue color, but not for long. At that time, he was a federal employee in the DC area, and my mother was a surgical intern at a New York City hospital. Both of them still have nightmares of that day. The fear, the anger, the frustration of seeing that blue sky crowded with smoke from civilian aircrafts. On one hand, these aircrafts are marvels of human ingenuity. Yet, while the Wright brothers pioneered motor-operated airplanes, the driving impetus for the aircrafts that led to the 9/11 strike was less about wanting to learn something new about humankind, but more about showing military superiority or winning global wars than showing ideological might. Another example is the computational power that we currently possess. Our generation boasts about artificial intelligence and quantum computing approaches to increase our present and future quality of life. However, incentives for computational prowess have a similar dark lineage. For example, research in computers was initially spurred on by wars, such as World War II and the Cold War. Current conflicts and skirmishes, both in military and economic terms, have driven our ability to achieve the levels of progress that we have seen in all of these technologies. The need for superiority has been a consistent and recurring driving force for scientific and technological breakthrough for quite a long time. But would this be considered a form of chauvinism? Consider two lions fighting to lead their pack. Each one utilizes any advantage to secure a win. Are our endeavors and breakthroughs any different? Are we really an advanced species? And if so, why are we so interested in developing approaches to overtake each other? Why? We believe that our approach is superior to that of the other members of the species, and we want to convince them to align with us. I propose that we, as a species, are driven the most by a fear of the unknown. And while this is not a human-centric fear by any means, for example, the flight or fight response has been demonstrated as a basic survival instinct for many other species, our cognitive development has elevated this fear to a different level. Now, the unknowns we fear are at a higher plane, a more sophisticated enunciation of that expressed by other species. We fear the unknown evil that comes from one segment of our population dominating over us, and we spend all of our efforts to tackle that unknown and beat it down. I would argue that we should embrace this fear, embrace not knowing for a change. When we do this, it allows us to strive for understanding more and to push the bounds of our knowledge and develop a stronger, more unified front. For example, we fear the unknown that comes with ill health and death, but that has allowed us to develop an understanding of how the human body works from a subcellular level to the global health level. And it has also allowed us to develop potent antimicrobial drugs to protect us from bacteria and viruses. The COVID-19 pandemic presents another representation of this. To face the unknown virus, which is impacting millions of lives, we are racing to develop safe and effective vaccines. And my dad happens to work at an agency that regulates such vaccines. We are also better appreciating the contributions of frontline physicians who can successfully screen and diagnose the virus, the first signs of the virus, in patients. And as a physician, my mom has been at the forefront of this effort. Learning directly from them and their various colleagues in science and technology, I realize the power we have to tackle global problems when we use our fears constructively, not destructively. So while we use our intellectual prowess to develop technologies for fighting battles, this prowess is the very battlefield that we are fighting on. The more we accept the inevitable presence of unknowns, the more our brains will accept that collectively we have the power to tackle these unknowns and to mitigate these fears. Thank you.